fast food chain is taking a lickin' for its finger-licking good chicken shaped like a rat?
You walk into KFC expecting to get real fried chicken made with that famous blend of 11 herbs and spices. But what if I told you that what you're actually eating has almost nothing to do with the original KFC recipe? Here's what KFC doesn't want you to discover: the shocking truth about how their chicken is really prepared, what's actually in those 11 herbs and spices, and why that drumstick you're eating might stay perfectly preserved in your backpack for weeks without spoiling. I spent weeks investigating what really happens behind the red and white KFC signs, and what I found will change how you think about that bucket of chicken forever. By the end of this video, you'll know the disturbing truth about KFC's ingredients, preparation methods, and corporate practices that could make you think twice before ever walking through those doors again. Let's start with the most important question. What exactly are you eating when you bite into that piece of KFC chicken? You probably think it's fresh chicken, seasoned with herbs and spices, then hand-breaded and fried to perfection. The reality is far more disturbing than KFC's marketing would have you believe. Former KFC employees have revealed that much of the chicken arrives at restaurants pre-breaded and frozen in industrial bags. One worker from a Michigan location said, "We didn't bread anything fresh. The chicken came in plastic bags, already coated, and we just had to thaw it and drop it in the fryer." But here's where it gets really concerning. That famous pressure-fried method that KFC claims makes their chicken so special? It's actually a way to cook chicken faster and at lower temperatures, which means the chicken often doesn't reach the internal temperatures necessary to kill harmful bacteria. A former KFC manager revealed, "During busy periods, we'd pull chicken out of the fryer before it was fully cooked because customers were waiting. The outside looked done, but the inside was often still pink. We just send it out anyway." The 11 herbs and spices that KFC has built their entire brand around? It's mostly salt and MSG with a few basic seasonings. A food scientist who analyzed KFC's coding found that over 40% of the seasoning blend is just sodium chloride, regular table salt. The chicken itself comes from massive industrial farms where birds are packed into windowless warehouses with tens of thousands of other chickens. These aren't the free-range, happy chickens that KFC's marketing might suggest. They're factory-farmed birds pumped full of antibiotics and growth hormones. Health inspection reports from multiple KFC locations have flagged serious issues with chicken storage and preparation. In one case, a Florida location was cited for keeping raw chicken at room temperature for over 3 hours during a lunch rush. The oil used for frying is often reused for days or even weeks. Former employees report that the oil becomes so dark and thick that it looks like motor oil, but corporate policies prioritize cost savings over food quality. A former employee posted a viral video showing the oil filtration process at the end of the day. The amount of burnt food particles and debris filtered out was shocking, yet that same oil would be used again the next day. The preservation problem. Here's something that should terrify you. KFC chicken has an unnaturally long shelf life that defies the laws of food spoilage. Multiple customers have reported finding KFC chicken that remained unchanged after weeks or even months. One person found a drumstick in their car that had been there for 3 weeks. No mold, no smell, no visible decay. Real chicken starts growing bacteria and mold within days. But this isn't an accident, it's by design. The preservatives pumped into KFC chicken are so powerful that they essentially mummify the meat. We're talking about chemicals like sodium phosphates, calcium propionate, and TBHQ, the same preservative used in varnishes and lacquers. A former food scientist who worked with KFC's suppliers revealed, "The goal wasn't to make the chicken taste better or be healthier. The goal was to make it last as long as possible without spoiling, even under poor storage conditions." The breading contains anti-caking agents and stabilizers that prevent it from breaking down naturally. These chemicals are designed to keep the coating crispy and intact for extended periods, regardless of temperature or humidity. Real fried chicken, made with simple ingredients, would start to deteriorate within hours. The fact that KFC chicken can sit unchanged for weeks tells you everything you need to know about how processed and chemically altered it really is. The sodium content is so extreme that it acts as a natural preservative. A single piece of KFC chicken can contain over 400 milligrams of sodium. That's more than a bag of potato chips. This isn't for flavor, it's for preservation. Former employees have described finding pieces of chicken that had fallen behind equipment and remained unchanged for months. One worker said, "We found a chicken breast that had been back there since the previous summer. It looked exactly the same as the day it fell. That's when I realized this wasn't really food." The ingredient deception. When KFC says their chicken is made with 11 herbs and spices, they're technically telling the truth. But what they don't tell you is that those 11 ingredients are mixed with over 40 other chemicals, preservatives, and artificial additives. The complete ingredient list for KFC chicken reads like a chemistry textbook. Monosodium glutamate, sodium aluminum phosphate, calcium propionate, disodium inosinate, disodium guanylate, and dozens of other compounds you can't pronounce. But the real shock comes when you realize what these chemicals actually do. MSG isn't just a flavor enhancer, it's a neurotoxin that can cause headaches, nausea, and other neurological symptoms in sensitive individuals. KFC uses it in concentrations high enough to trigger these reactions in many customers. The anti-caking agents prevent the seasoning from clumping, but they also prevent your body from properly digesting the food. These chemicals can interfere with nutrient absorption and cause digestive problems. Sodium aluminum phosphate, used to make the breading stick better, has been linked to neurological problems and may contribute to Alzheimer's disease. Yet KFC continues to use it because it makes their coating process more efficient. The natural flavoring listed on KFC's ingredients includes artificial smoke flavor, synthetic chicken flavor, and chemical compounds designed to trigger specific taste responses in your brain. There's nothing natural about it. A former KFC supplier revealed, "We had to add so many chemicals to make the chicken taste like chicken that we joked about whether there was any actual chicken left in the final product." The breading contains high fructose corn syrup, not for sweetness but because it helps create that golden brown color that makes the chicken look appealing. This adds unnecessary sugar to what should be a savory dish. Even the oil used for frying contains additives. Dimethylpolysiloxane, the same chemical used in silly putty, is added to prevent foaming. You're literally eating the same compounds found in children's toys. The health hazards. Regular consumption of KFC chicken poses serious health risks that go far beyond just weight gain or high cholesterol. The extreme sodium content, often over 1,000 milligrams per piece, can cause immediate health problems like elevated blood pressure, water retention, and kidney stress. Eating a typical KFC meal provides more sodium than you should consume in an entire day. But the long-term health effects are even more concerning. The preservatives and chemicals in KFC chicken have been linked to increased cancer risk, neurological problems, and autoimmune disorders. Many of these chemicals were never properly tested for long-term human consumption. The high levels of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, created by KFC's high-temperature frying process are linked to accelerated aging, diabetes complications, and cardiovascular disease. These toxic compounds accumulate in your body over time. A cardiologist who studied fast food consumption found that eating KFC regularly can cause measurable changes in blood chemistry within hours. "The inflammatory response is immediate and severe," he said. "It's like watching your body go into crisis mode." The antibiotic-resistant bacteria that can survive KFC's preservation process pose a serious threat to public health. When these bacteria enter your system, standard antibiotics may not be effective in treating infections. Children are particularly vulnerable to KFC's health effects. The high sodium content can interfere with proper brain development, while the chemical additives may contribute to behavioral problems and learning difficulties. Former employees have reported getting sick from eating the food regularly. One worker said, "After 6 months of working there and eating KFC almost daily, I developed chronic digestive problems that took years to resolve after I quit." The grease and oil used in KFC's frying process contains trans fats and oxidized compounds that directly damage your cardiovascular system. Even occasional consumption can have lasting effects on your heart health. The cleanliness crisis. Health inspection reports from KFC locations across the country reveal a disturbing pattern of sanitation violations and food safety failures. Multiple locations have been cited for employees not washing hands between handling raw chicken and serving customers. Cross-contamination between raw and cooked foods is a recurring problem that puts customers at serious risk of foodborne illness. But the problems go much deeper than basic hygiene. Former employees have described pressure to cut corners during busy periods. One worker revealed, "We were told to skip proper cleaning procedures during lunch rushes to keep the line moving. Food safety took a backseat to speed." The pressure fryers used to cook KFC chicken are notoriously difficult to clean properly, and many locations don't follow the required cleaning protocols. Grease and food particles build up inside the equipment, creating perfect breeding grounds for harmful bacteria. A health inspector in Texas found that a KFC location was storing raw chicken in the same cooler as cooked food, with juices from the raw chicken dripping onto ready-to-eat items. The restaurant continued operating while addressing the violation. The ice machines at many KFC locations have been flagged for mold and bacterial contamination. One former employee posted photos showing black slime inside an ice machine that was still being used to fill customer drinks. Kitchen equipment maintenance is often deferred to save costs. Former workers report using fryers with broken temperature controls, leading to chicken that's either dangerously undercooked or burnt beyond recognition. The cleaning chemicals used in KFC kitchens are often mixed incorrectly or not rinsed properly, leaving chemical residues on surfaces that come into contact with food. These residues can cause allergic reactions and other health problems. A viral video from a former KFC employee showed the process of cleaning the chicken fryers at closing time. The amount of burnt food, grease, and debris that came out was shocking, yet that equipment would be used again the next day. The worker treatment scandal. Behind those smiling faces taking your order lies a workplace culture that many former employees describe as exploitative and dangerous. KFC workers are often scheduled for just under 40 hours per week to avoid paying benefits, forcing many employees to work multiple jobs just to survive. The starting wages are so low that many workers qualify for government assistance despite working full-time. But the real problems go beyond just low pay. Former employees report being pressured to work while sick, even when handling food. One worker said, "I had the flu and was throwing up, but my manager told me I'd be fired if I didn't come in. I spent my shift handling chicken while running to the bathroom every few minutes." The pressure to meet speed targets often leads to unsafe working conditions. Burns from hot oil are common, and many locations don't provide adequate safety equipment or training. A former KFC manager revealed, "Corporate cared more about drive-through times than worker safety. We had employees getting burned by hot oil because they were rushing to meet impossible speed targets." The high-stress environment and poor working conditions lead to extremely high turnover rates. Many locations are constantly understaffed, which compromises both food safety and service quality. Workers report being denied breaks during busy periods, sometimes working 8 to 10-hour shifts without a meal break. This exhaustion leads to mistakes that can compromise food safety. The training provided to new employees is minimal and focuses more on speed than safety or food handling procedures. Many workers start handling food with little understanding of proper sanitation practices. Former employees have described being asked to clean equipment with dangerous chemicals without proper protective gear. The long-term health effects of this chemical exposure are unknown but potentially serious. The corporate cover-up. KFC's parent company, Yum! Brands, has spent millions trying to hide the reality of their food production and business practices from consumers. Internal documents revealed through lawsuits show that KFC executives have known about food safety problems for years, but chose to prioritize profits over customer health. But the deception goes much deeper than just hiding problems. KFC's marketing campaigns are specifically designed to distract from health and safety concerns. The focus on finger-lickin' good and nostalgic imagery is meant to create emotional connections that override rational concerns about food quality. The company has fought against every attempt to require ingredient disclosure or nutritional labeling. They've spent millions lobbying against regulations that would force them to be transparent about what's really in their food. When health studies show negative effects from eating KFC regularly, The company funds contradictory studies designed to confuse consumers and create doubt about the science. A former KFC marketing executive revealed, "Our job was to make people feel good about eating our food, regardless of what was actually in it. We called it emotional marketing, making people associate KFC with happy memories instead of health concerns." The original recipe marketing is particularly deceptive. The current KFC recipe bears little resemblance to what Colonel Sanders actually created. The original recipe used simple, natural ingredients, while today's version is a chemical cocktail designed for mass production. KFC has also hidden the environmental impact of their operations. The industrial chicken farming required to supply their restaurants contributes to water pollution, antibiotic resistance, and animal cruelty on a massive scale. The addiction factor. KFC's food is specifically engineered to be addictive, using the same psychological and chemical principles employed by tobacco and drug companies. The combination of salt, fat, and MSG creates a neurological response that triggers cravings and makes it difficult to stop eating. This isn't an accident. It's a calculated strategy to ensure repeat customers. But the addiction engineering goes even deeper. The texture of KFC chicken is designed to trigger pleasure responses in your brain. The contrast between the crispy coating and tender meat creates what food scientists call dynamic contrast, which enhances the addictive properties of the food. The 11 herbs and spices aren't just for flavor. They're specifically chosen to create a complex taste profile that your brain finds irresistible. Each bite delivers multiple flavor hits that keep you wanting more. Former food scientists who worked with KFC have revealed that the company studies brain scans to understand how their food affects neural pathways. They're literally designing food to hijack your brain's reward system. The portion sizes are calculated to leave you wanting more. A single piece of chicken provides just enough satisfaction to trigger cravings for additional pieces, leading to overconsumption. The smell of KFC is artificially enhanced with chemical compounds that trigger hunger responses even when you're not actually hungry. Walking past a KFC can literally make you crave their food through engineered scent manipulation. The environmental destruction. The environmental impact of KFC's operations extends far beyond just the restaurants themselves. The industrial chicken farming required to supply KFC contributes to massive water pollution, with chicken waste contaminating groundwater and rivers across the country. Communities near these farms report health problems and environmental degradation. But the environmental damage goes much deeper. The antibiotics used in KFC's chicken supply chain are creating antibiotic-resistant bacteria that pose a threat to both human and environmental health. These superbugs are spreading through water systems and soil. The packaging used by KFC is largely non-recyclable and contributes to the growing plastic pollution crisis. Despite claims about sustainability, most KFC containers end up in landfills or as litter. The carbon footprint of KFC's supply chain is enormous, from the grain used to feed chickens to the transportation required to move products around the globe. The company has made few meaningful efforts to reduce their environmental impact. Deforestation for chicken feed production is destroying habitats and contributing to climate change. The soy and corn used to feed KFC's chickens often comes from cleared rainforest land. The uncomfortable truth. Here's what all of this adds up to. KFC has transformed from a restaurant serving real fried chicken into a chemical food laboratory that prioritizes profits over your health, their workers' well-being, and environmental responsibility. But you have the power to make different choices. Every time you choose to eat at KFC, you're supporting a system that puts corporate profits ahead of your health. Every dollar you spend there is a vote for the kind of food system you want to see in the world. The solution isn't just to avoid KFC, it's to demand better from all food companies. Support restaurants that are transparent about their ingredients, treat their workers fairly, and prioritize food safety over speed and profits. Your health is worth more than the convenience of drive-through chicken. Your family deserves better than chemically preserved, artificially flavored food that's designed to be addictive rather than nutritious. The Colonel Sanders who started KFC would be horrified by what his company has become. What began as a simple recipe for good fried chicken has been transformed into a corporate machine that prioritizes everything except the quality and safety of the food. The next time you're craving fried chicken, remember what you've learned here today. Remember that real fried chicken doesn't stay preserved for weeks. Remember that good food doesn't need 40+ chemical additives. And remember that your health is worth more than any marketing campaign. If this video opened your eyes to the reality behind KFC's red and white signs, hit like and subscribe to Truth on the Table. We're committed to exposing what really goes on behind the scenes at popular food chains so you can make informed decisions about what you eat. Share this with someone who still thinks KFC is just harmless fast food. Because when it comes to what we're really eating and how it affects our health, the truth should always be on the table. And remember, just because it's finger-licking good doesn't mean it's good for you. Just because it's been around for decades doesn't mean it's safe. And just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's worth the cost to your health. The truth about KFC isn't comfortable, but it's the truth you need to make informed decisions about your health and your family's future.